My name is Maimone. I'm 41 years old, and this is my God story. I was born in Queens, New York. At the age of 12, we moved into my grandmother's house. My first real day of school, I was given a chain and a lock and told that we were going to be fighting, these other group of kids to keep them out of our neighborhood. And it was really my first experience with any of that. And I'd like to say that I'm a big, tough guy, but I'm not. I was scared. That's what I was. I was really, really scared. I just went along with the flow. And I was scared going to the school. I was scared of the kids there. I was really the kid that they dressed funny. I wore Buster Brown shoes and plaid pants and button shirt, and my hair was short and parted to the side. And we moved into this bad, tough neighborhood, and everybody there was wearing leather jackets and denim jeans and biker chains and had long hair and Led Zeppelin shirts. And I didn't look like I fit in. I didn't feel like I fit in. And I did everything I possibly could action-wise to fit in. And I got myself in a lot of trouble. Started using drugs, smoking cigarettes, fighting. I was in trouble with the police by the age of 12. And by the age of 15, 16 years old, I was on my own. And happy to be that. I was no longer able to use drugs and alcohol in my house, my parents' house, the way that I wanted to. And it was just such an integral part of me fitting in with people that I was running with that I really had no choice. I didn't feel that I had no choice. 17 years old, I was homeless during the winter months. 18 years old, I was homeless during the winter months. 20 years old, I was homeless during the winter months. Really, I went to a meeting and I found a pretty lady and thought that maybe raising a family might be the necessary jolt in my life. And I married my ex-wife. Well, I married my wife, who's my ex-wife today, and I had a daughter with her. And it was horrible. I was not a good father. I was not a good son. I was not a good husband. I was not a good employee. I started my own business, messed that up, and it was just an absolute complete disaster. I could not stop using drugs and alcohol. I could not be the man that I wanted to be. I didn't want to be this man. I wanted to be a good father. I wanted to raise my child and put her through college and be a good husband and be happily married and then retire into the mountains somewhere and have all the grandkids come up and bringing them fishing and hunting, and that's what my pastimes were. And I could not do that. I could not get to be that man. Drugs and alcohol would always come in and it would destroy my life. I was no longer able to be counted on as a father. At this point, me and my wife were divorced. I was doing the best I could, to support her household, pay my child support, be a father, and it all just went away at that point. I could not handle any of my responsibilities, and I had really become my worst nightmare. And the pain I would hear in my daughter's voice, the anger I would hear in my ex-wife's voice, the disgust I heard in my parents' voice, it was just, it was horrible. I had just become, a loser would have been one of the nicer things that they would say about me at that point. In the areas that I was running in, nobody really wanted to have anything to do with me. The drug dealers didn't, the prostitutes didn't. It was just absolutely horrible. I wound up getting removed by the police from the city of Philadelphia. I was told that I needed to leave and never come back. And so I started walking down to Atlanta from Philadelphia, and got through Philadelphia to Delaware, which isn't that far of a thing, and I got myself a 10-speed bicycle and I started pedaling down, and I had about $130 to my name at that point in a backpack, and I got down here to Atlanta where my sister lived. I thought everything was going to be different. I figured a different place, a new start. I figured by the time I got down here I would be dried out, and that when I got down here I would just start fresh. And it really wasn't any different. I got down here and my sister said, I was more than welcome to stay at the house, and heard Atlanta was a booming town. Woodstock was where she lived. I got a job with a fella, and started drafting designs for him, and he gave me a deposit. That was not a good idea. a healthy deposit, a couple $1,000s. And so when this fella gave me that deposit, I went downtown looking for crack cocaine, which was my drug of choice. I had only been here for, maybe a month at the time, and I was off to the races. I wound up getting that little house in the woods. It was a dumpster that was in an abandoned lot, and that's where I wound up staying one of my last weekends. And I looked around, and there was a mattress on the bottom of the dumpster, and the dumpster was, kind of turned upside down, and so there was the bottom of the dumpster was the roof, and the little bin where people put the clothing in. That was my window, and I was looking out at all the weeds and the saplings that was growing up, and I thought this is what my life had come to. It was gone, and I started walking back to Woodstock from downtown Atlanta, and this was a Sunday morning, and a fella in an old white dilapidated van with ladders up on the top pulled over, and it was sprinkling, and I'd been smoking crack for 3 or 4 days at this point. And he pulled up, and there's just no way. I'm walking on Interstate 75 on the side of the road, and this guy pulls over. Why would anybody pull over to pick up somebody looking like I did that morning? And he backed up his van, and I realized he was coming for me, and I walked up to it, and he asked me if I needed a ride and where I was going. And I said Woodstock, and his eyes kind of bulged out a little bit, and he was like, I'll bring you down as far as the end, where it forks off, 75 and 575. I'll drop you off there. And I got in the van, and he asked me what happened. And I wasn't telling anybody what was going on in my life, but for some reason, this guy, I got in there, and his hair was longer than mine. There were cigarette and coffee cups all over the bottom of the van. It was all dirty. It was really an old dilapidated work van. And he was a gutter guy. That's what he did. And he said to me, he asked me what was going on. I told him, I'm a crack cocaine addict. I can't stop using this stuff. I've been using it all weekend long. And, I just started again, and I have not been able to stop for like 1.5 years, 2 years. It's been every day. And every day I say I'm going to stop, and every day I can't stop. And it was just, I started crying, right there in the van. And the guy turns around, and he was like, listen, I'll drive you all the way back to your sister's house in Woodstock. Because when we get off of 92, there's an abandoned gas station there. If you'll let me pray over you, I'll bring you all the way to Woodstock. And that was the last weekend I used drugs. Ever so far. Ever.